Good work today, Lily.
I was approached in front of a large building. She is Lucy, a child of an employee who works in this building. This building is the headquarters building of a certain supermarket. I work part-time at one of the supermarkets, but sometimes I have to come to the head office building. I was relieved to see her face, which I hadn't seen for a long time, because she seemed to be in good health. I smiled and said hello to her, and she walked into the building. I followed her into the building. I had no idea that something like that would happen after that. My name is Lily. I am 67 years old and work at a supermarket.
Lily, what should I do with this?
I'm sorry, there is something wrong with the cash register. Can you tell me what's going on?
I am often approached like that by employees and part-timers working in the supermarket because I have been working here the longest. I only work part-time about 3 days a week, but I've been here for 40 years now, so everyone seems to trust me. Store managers and employees get transferred, but part-timers basically don't. I've taken some time off from work after getting married and having a baby, but I like working here, and I'm still willing to work here. My job at the supermarket is very diverse. I am responsible for the cash register, taking out products, placing orders, and managing sales. Moreover, recently the number of payment methods at the cash register has increased, so there are many new things to learn. Some people say it's hard work, but I enjoy the change. Working in this way makes me more sensitive to trends. Above all, at my age, I think it helps prevent me from becoming a blower. I sometimes have trouble keeping up with new things, but I have always had the personality that I have to do things on my own, so I have done things on my own by asking younger employees and part-timers. I can move my body, and it has been worth it. At this supermarket, it is a rule that employees hired at the head office are always given on-site experience. This year, again, the time has come for new employees to join the company. I am always excited to see what kind of kids they will bring in. But this year was a little different. Before the new employees arrived, I was called by the manager. He told me that one of the kids coming to our store for training was a well-connected employee. She seems to be the daughter of the head office manager. It's not that she needs to be treated differently, but she wants me to be aware of it. Well, that can happen. I didn't pay any attention to it, and the new employee had arrived. The girl I was told was a connection was 23-year-old Mary. Her hair was brighter than the other girls. She was wearing a worn-out uniform, and she was very different to look at. During the morning meeting, the manager warned her softly, "You're going to say that to me. I'll tell my father," Mary said. At this rate, she proudly said, her father is from the head office. Is she proud of her connections? I thought it was unusual, since many kids hide their connections these days, since people tend to think that they can join a company if they have connections even if they don't have the ability. Mary is arrogant and condescending to her peers, saying, "I'm better than you guys." For new employees who don't know the world yet, they will follow the orders of the head office or the daughter of the general manager. But for the part-timers, it is of little concern. I have never heard of a head office manager doing anything about a part-timer in a store. Because of Mary's big attitude, the part-timers often warned her. I often warned her, too. For example, when she was doing something incorrectly, I would gently tell her, "Mary, do it this way." She would sigh and say, "Yes, yes. Is this what you want me to do? Why do I have to be told what to do by a part-timer? I'm not sure why I should be dictated to by a part-timer." You can think what you want, but at least don't say it out loud. I'm the one who wants to sigh. She has made nothing but enemies, as she disrespects not only the part-timers, but also the employees, and even the store manager. Since I was the oldest, I was not affected by every single emotion of a child who had lived only 1/3 of my life, so I warned her every time she did something wrong. Mary naturally looked disgusted, but I would give her my attention as well, separating it from the fact that this was my job. Then one day, due to Mary's mistake in placing an order, an item that had been reserved by a customer did not arrive. I had told her many times to always check with someone else when placing an order, but she often said, "Why should I bother to check something as simple as this?" and often did not confirm the order. This led to this mistake. The manager was also checking the order, but he had a lot of other orders that day and didn't notice the details. The customer is a store owner, and he had a problem if he didn't have the reserved ingredients right away. The manager tried desperately to call other stores to scrape up enough for the customer's reservation. We patted our chests as we managed to deliver the product to the customer in time. Meanwhile, Mary was acting all flustered and not apologizing. I was furious with her and said, "Mary, it was your mistake, and you should apologize to the customer. Shouldn't you at least thank manager who cleaned up your mess?" I said. Mary finally said, "I'm sorry, but it was only words." The manager and I could only sigh. In her words, she probably didn't like the fact that I, a part-time worker, had warned her. After that, Mary began to repeatedly talk down to me. "I feel sorry for you that you have to work part-time even at your age. Don't you get a pension? Doesn't your husband earn that much?" she said. I like being a part-timer. Working part-time at the supermarket is good exercise, and I use my head a lot, so it helps prevent aging. Above all, I like talking to customers and seeing their happy faces, I told her, but Mary snickered.
How can you say that? A bottom feeder who works until the end of your life.
I was about to warn her about that, but Mary laughed at me and left. I wondered if it was such a great thing to have connections. There have been people with connections in the past, but they were people who worked hard regardless of such connections, so I was shocked to see Mary this time. She said I'm supposed to work at the head office, but what's with the on-site training? Why do I have to do this bottom-of-the-barrel job? I also heard her saying to her colleagues in an imposing manner, "I don't understand how someone who doesn't know the field can work at the head office. Don't think that someone who doesn't know what it's like to work in the field can be accepted at the head office." But in the end, she completed the on-site training and returned to the head office. A month later, I had some business to attend to and headed for the head office. Before entering the head office, I was approached by a voice.
Lily, thank you for your hard work today. How are you?
There are a number of people at the head office who know each other. The young woman who called out to me at this time was Lucy. She joined our store last year as a new trainee. She was well received by customers with her smiling face and bright smile. She is now working as a clerk at the head office. It makes me happy to know that there are other people who call out to me. In fact, today is the management strategy meeting, and I am here to deliver the voice of the front line. People at the head office are inevitably unfamiliar with the real voices of the front line, so I attend this meeting once every few months, where they ask me to tell them what is going on. While I was having a cup of tea in the break room before the meeting started, I heard a familiar voice. It was the voice that complained, "I've been released from all this field training crap, but all I'm doing is chores." It is Mary who is complaining. The person complaining was probably a coworker, but she looked a little annoyed. When I looked up, my eyes met Mary's, who was just turning toward me. Mary was clearly disgusted.
Why are you here?
That's what she thought. She could have just ignored me, but since our eyes met, I couldn't ignore her either, so I lightly bailed. I wanted to end it there, but she took the trouble to walk right in front of me.
What's a part-timer doing at the head office?
I tried to remain as calm as possible and told her, "I've been invited to today's meeting." I told her only what was required, but Mary stared at me as if she didn't like what I was saying.
Are we going to have people at the conference who have to work until their life expectancy to survive? Oh no, poor people need to stay away.
There are many other people from the head office around us, and yet here she is again with this attitude. As I am thinking this, Mary says to the colleague next to her,
This lady is a part-timer at the store where I was sent for training. She even lectured me like a big shot just because I'm old.
Her coworker tries to stop her, but Mary is having none of it.
She says she loves to work, even though she's so broke at her age that she has to work. Isn't that funny?
Mary never stops attacking me. As I was wondering what to do, Lucy, who had just greeted me in front of the head office, came into the break room and flew over to me.
What are you talking about?
Lucy looked at her, turning pale, and said, "What? Who are you?" Mary glared at her. Mary continued, "My father is the head of the department, and he can fire a regular employee like you at any time. Don't talk to me like you're a big shot."
You know what? Who do you think she is?
Lucy seemed to be shaking with anger at Mary's outburst against me. I felt sorry for her to have to cover for me anymore because she is a sweet girl, and I didn't want to make Lucy's position worse. So I said, "Lucy, thank you, that's enough, let's go." And I was about to leave the place with Lucy. But then Mary said, "You run away when things get a little bad. It's not right for you to lecture me." She looked down on me. Then a man entered the room. Lucy straightens her back at the sight of him. He comes up to me, and Mary looks at him suspiciously.
Lily, there you are. You weren't answering your phone. I thought you hadn't arrived.
It was my husband who said that. Lucy turned even paler and muttered, "Boss." Hearing this, Mary turned even paler than Lucy. Lucy turned to Mary and said, Lily is the president's wife. Hearing this, Mary turns even paler than before. The supermarket where I work was founded by my grandfather. My father took over, my brother took over, and my husband, who married me, took over. My brother, by the way, is the current chairman of the board. I knew Lucy because we got along well during the training, and I had told her so, and we had met during the meetings, but Mary probably didn't think I was in such a position. When it came to Mary, she seemed to have grasped the situation and stopped talking at all and looking pale. My husband turned to Mary and said, "You must be Mary. I had heard about you, but you are more than I expected." Mary started shaking and said to me in a weak voice, "I'm sorry." She said in a weak voice, "I'm sorry." But do you think you will be forgiven with such words? What are you apologizing for? You are only apologizing because you found out I am the president's wife, right? You can only see people from your position. That is very unfortunate. Besides, you are making your father's position worse. I wonder how your father would feel if he knew you were talking like this, I said to Mary. Mary looked pale and just repeated, "I'm sorry." She just repeats, "I'm sorry." I sigh. You know, a supermarket can't be run by employees alone. There are more part-timers than employees in our store. If you think you can look down on them because they are part-timers, you are mistaken. In your case, your father only has a position, and you are still a new employee. Make that mistake and you'll be in for a world of pain. Mary nodded, looking pale. My husband agreed with me and told Mary, "I'll let you know what the disciplinary action will be." Mary's face turned even paler at the word disciplinary action, and she ran out of the room. I thanked Lucy and said I was also surprised when I found out that Lily was the president's wife, but I love Lily regardless of that. She said. Then my husband opened his mouth next to me.
Lily was supposed to be the president, but she refuses to do it because she likes the field. So I'm the president. I'm not good at this kind of bossy position.
He complained a bit pathetically and scratched his head. I laughed at him because he certainly didn't look like the dignified president of a company. Because I knew that if I became president, I would not have the opportunity to deal directly with customers. I work here part-time because I enjoy interacting with customers. When I said this, Lucy smiled and said, "I think Lily would go out into the field even if she became president, though." I laughed, imagining that she might. Then, at a subsequent meeting, my husband proposed a system whereby a person from the head office would also go to the field once a year to meet directly with customers. I was surprised that the idea we had just talked about had passed. Even more surprisingly, my husband hides his position as president of the company and is breathless with the idea of going to the field once in a while, and I am amused by that. The next day, Mary came to me with her father to apologize. At the head office, it seems that the incident in the break room yesterday spread quickly, and when her father heard about it, she turned pale. Mary, who did not apologize properly, was scolded by her father in front of me and cried. Mary, crying is not something you can be forgiven for. Do you have any idea how many people you have made uncomfortable? Go and apologize properly to the other part-timers employees, and the store manager. I did not forgive Mary, who apologized with a hiccup. You can't take back what you've said, so I want you to show me with your attitude from now on. I thought that if I forgave her at this point, she might not be able to change, so I dared not to forgive her. He was so angry with her, from his own father and me, that she must have felt a little sorry for herself. I heard that she came to the manager's office later to apologize. Mary was making a lot of enemies at the head office as well, so when this rumor spread, there was no one left to cover for her, and everyone left her. They started talking about this behind her back, and she finally resigned from her job. Lucy later told us that she had apparently been living at her parents' house, but was kicked out and did not know where or what she was doing now. Mary got what she deserved. She should play fair and square, where she has no connections. Most of all, though, unless she fixes that personality, she won't do well anywhere. I think she should experience the harshness of the world firsthand. I am happily working at the supermarket today. However, everyone is a bit nervous today. The reason is that the president of the company himself is standing on the shop floor. "Welcome," my husband says charmingly. My husband, who is always smiling, doesn't look like a boss. I thought my husband was a little cute as he served the customers with a twinkle in his eye. The manager, who had never thought that the president would ever be on site, was very surprised, but he seemed to be enjoying watching the president. I think I will continue to work while staying close to my customers.